Britt here. Can you really forgive yourself? The answer might surprise you. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting, and it's not pretending it didn't matter. It's about releasing yourself from the prison of guilt. And today, we're going to talk about how. I'm Britt. Welcome. For years, I lived with a really big hidden ache and a voice inside of me that whispered, "You don't deserve peace." And what I discovered was that forgiveness isn't something you earn, because believe me, I tried. It's something you receive and give. So let's talk first about forgiving ourselves. It's one of the hardest things to do, especially when we think we're not worthy, especially when we're talking about ending a pregnancy. And forgiveness, it's not denial, and it's not condoning whatever it is we're trying to forgive. It's saying, I choose to no longer let this pain write my story. And it's about agreeing with what God says about you, not what shame says. You're not disqualified from a joyful life, and you're not too far gone. You're not broken beyond repair. And when we forgive ourselves, we align our heart and mind with God's grace. And that's when peace gets to settle in. You know, the day I finally believed that God had already forgiven me, that's the day my heart exhaled for the first time in years. It was a long day. You know, those kind of days where nothing seems to go right, everything's wrong. People cut me off in traffic, the barista gives me the wrong cup of coffee. Luxury problems, I know, but nothing went right that day. I was out shopping, and every time I walked by the reflection in the windows, I saw that woman I hated so much. When I got home that night, I realized that every miserable thing in my life was based on that woman I hate. And I was brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed, and it was like this whisper spoke to me. I could barely hear it. I even went to turn off the air conditioning so I could hear it, because I knew there was something being said, but I couldn't hear what it was. And I saw myself and my reflection in the mirror brushing my teeth. And when I finally got still enough, quiet enough, and the frustration of the day died down, what I heard was, "Forgive her." And I thought, I can't do that. I hate her. I hate what she's done to me. I hate what she's become, and I hate what she's done to my life. She's settled in life, and I hate what she did to my baby. And the whisper just came across again and said, "Forgive her. Just forgive her." And I had tried, but I felt like the words just wouldn't come out of my mouth. To forgive myself for the choices I made, I couldn't do it. That would be like letting myself off the hook. And I couldn't say it. And I looked myself right in the mirror and I said, "I hate you." And I waited. And it took me about 20 minutes before the words could actually come out of my mouth. When they did, they fell out of my mouth like sharp kind of shards of glass from a broken wine bottle shattering on the bathroom counter, and it didn't feel good. So I tried it again, and it took about 5 more minutes. And believe me, when you're staring at yourself in the mirror, that's a long time. But I was able to say it again, and then a third time. And then the fourth time, it wasn't quite as hard. And by the time I got to the fifth time, it was more like a hug made of words, because I was looking myself right in the eye, tears streaming down my face, and I said for the first time that my heart could actually feel it, "I forgive you for killing my baby." Now, you may have done a lot of exercises on forgiveness. You may have experienced those exercises at workshops or sitting knee to knee with the person that you love, and you look right in their eyes and you list all the things they've done and eventually say, "I forgive you." I'm going to ask you to ask yourself honestly, have you ever said that to you because it may be tough. And you may want to scream and yell and have a fight with you, or avoid it, which I was queen of avoidance for years, decades actually. But I'm also going to tell you this: if you want true freedom in your life, it's just on the other side of completely forgiving you. Because until you forgive you, you can't love you. And do you really want a life where you can't love yourself? Is that really enough? Because when you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I hate what you did to my baby, but I forgive you, then you own it. Go look at that person right in your eyes, not in the whites of your eyes, not sideways, not 5 feet back from the mirror, but right in the pupils. Seeing yourself from the shoulders up, look right in your pupils and do this until you can comfortably and genuinely say, I forgive you. And one last thing, use your name. And be sure to do this exercise 4 to 5 times a week until it sounds like, I forgive you, Britt. Until you feel you are truly forgiven. You know, I talk a lot about becoming 2.0 you. And forgiving yourself is one of the most important steps on the journey to 2.0 you. And for years after my abortions, I held on to anger and resentment toward myself, not even consciously. I thought it was fine. I thought everything was okay. But my anger really got in the way of my healing. And many of you have heard that depression is anger turned inward. And that was me. That was a revelation to me. Because if you had asked if I was an angry person at the time, I would have said absolutely not. And what I came to realize was mine was just underground. Now, the first time I got pregnant, I was 19, basically a child. When I told one of my college friends that I hadn't had my period in nearly 3 months, she advised me to get an abortion and proceeded to tell me exactly where and how I could go about doing so. And being terrified, it seemed like a simple, quick fix. The way she explained it, it seemed painless, confidential, and have 0 consequences. You know, I trusted her, and I had no idea what I was signing up for. So let me be clear, I am not blaming her for my decision. But this quick fix turned out to be decades of a detour. Many years later, when I was doing some deep inner work, I realized that I had judged myself very harshly for my choice. And I didn't realize I was operating with these inner voices of being a selfish, ungrateful, cowardly person. And I would ask myself, like, why didn't I at least do the research? Why wasn't I brave enough to tell my family? Or why did I act so quickly without even looking into it? And what I wish I had known at the time was you can't judge your current self with knowledge that you're just gaining now. So all that self-flagellation was really not helpful. Now, at the time, I honestly thought I made the best decision. I thought, well, I'm avoiding disgrace to my family. It's better to shave them from the embarrassment and anger they feel if they realize I'm pregnant out of wedlock. Is this what you're doing at college? I could just hear the voices. And what I know now is I made a very misguided decision based on my own fear and shame. And today we're talking about forgiveness to release your fear and shame. You know, just as he was being crucified, Jesus looked up to the heavens and said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that's when he forgave me. And that's when he forgave you. Well, the famous poet and writer Maya Angelou once said, I did then what I knew how to do. Now that I know better, I do better. And the same is true of you. You did what you knew to do. And being here, learning to step into 2.0 you, It's a huge step into learning how to make better life choices for yourself. And forgiving yourself is a foundation of doing so. Now, in my own case, for a long time, I refused to forgive myself because I thought I needed to hold myself accountable for my decision. And I am accountable for my decision. Again, the self-flagellation that followed for years served no one. I couldn't even be a good witness that way for my Lord. I mistakenly thought that if I forgave myself, I'd be dishonoring my baby or making light of the harm I caused not only to my baby, but to myself and my family. But by holding on to resentment and this self-loathing, I actually continued along a very harmful path. And believe me, the enemy of my soul, Satan, wanted me to stay on that path. And by forgiving myself, it was the beginning of my freedom. And that's what I want for you. Because once I took accountability for what I did and recognized why I did it, I was able to move forward. And this also will help us improve our health, our wealth, our relationships, the generations to come, and the relationship with God. For me, the cornerstone of my life. Now, if this hits home for you, I hope you'll sign up for my newsletter, where I share encouragement and real talk and faith-filled reminders that you are deeply loved. So I hope you'll leave a comment. You know, what would change if you actually believed you were already forgiven? I treasure your subscription to my YouTube channel and hope that I continue to deliver helpful hints and tips that make your life a better one. And if no one told you today, you are beloved.